that shuffling thing, it's going to be way more difficult for them to hit around the post. So when we've got that proper positioning, so let's say here's my cross court. Well, if my habit when a ball goes out here is to turn and step, so that becomes acceleration around the ball just because of that. But that's probably the number one issue that I see. When you're shuffling or off balance, you're going to either like rush it, you're going to get too you're going to hit it too early, any of those types of things. And just like we're talking about in those shots, it's about spacing. Spacing is huge in pickleball. It's always generating length and space. So, and you can even see it in movements when you see players, they'll kind of pull their paddles back a little bit. And you want that habit of leading with the paddle anytime they're moving. Okay? ATPs are definitely easier once you kind of start seeing it. Once they start doing it once, it's a lot easier. Okay, what about the Erne? The Erne.
Only harder.
Harder, right?
Harder, yeah. The timing. Sometimes you jump early, sometimes you late, the ball is low.
Yeah. So what are we looking for to anticipate it? Yeah, head dropping is the first one for sure, which I always think is interesting when people will tell me, oh, as soon as the head drops, that's when we look to Erne. But the same people also tell me they've got to look down at the ball to hit it. They're counter to it. It doesn't work together. So the head balance is probably one of the most important things in pickleball, and it defines everything. So, if I make my contact where it should be, okay, I can see the ball and I can see my opponent and everybody else in the court. If I get to the point where I have to drop my head, I am already late. I've already lost my contact. I've already lost the scenario. So that's why very often you will see us, rather than look down, just look up and kind of blindly see it. It's there. I always tell my players, trust there. It's not going anywhere. So I really like the factor of the Erne because it's a trickier one. ATP is a little bit easier. Erne is knowing when to go. But also a good way to start teaching it too is like with mixed doubles teams. Faking them is the first stage. So it's not like I just do this. Most everything we do from a positioning standpoint is less about where the ball is or where your partner is or like any of those things, and it's more to do with what do you want as a player. So pickleball is very visual. We react in a closer manner. So if I'm moving because I want you to see something, not because I have to move. And so like maybe if I know my opponent is like struggling with my speed ups a little bit, I'm going to purposely take bigger swings, not because I have to, but because I want her to flinch and get ready for a speed up, something. Oh, there's variables there. So that's why I see us all the time. We'll fake an Erne, not because we're going to hit it, but because we're trying to move the ball to the other space. Okay. So we'll start with the ATP. That's a simple one. So who wants to be my student? All right, Peter. I'm going to put you right here. We have a little bit of not a lot of space, but we're going to try it. I'm going to have you on this side. So first stage, we start with no paddle. All right. So I want you to kind of just start with your hands out towards me. And now we're going to practice just pushing off that right foot and stepping out forward into that court. Getting that chesty turn. Excellent. Good. Okay, so now we're just going to catch the ball, push off and turn. Good. Pass back to me. Good. Love it. Okay. Face me. Get that weight to the right side. There we go. Left side, Charlie. Good. Now push off, push, and go. Good. Okay. So really get that engagement fast as you can on this one. Really push off that. Ready? Go. Almost. Now, this one, I feel like you're a little too lateral. I want you to turn towards that fence. Almost chest all the way that way. All right, ready? Turn. Almost, okay? So you see how my chest? I'm going to go Yes, yes, yes. Good. Forward motion. Turn. Better. Okay, good. All right, go ahead and grab the paddle. Okay. So now, we're gonna have you try to hit it right here. Okay. So that under the shadow, that orange one right there. So same thing. We're gonna start loading on that right left leg all the way up to that line though. There we go. Get that foot all the way up to that line. There we go. Good, good, good. Okay, now push off and go. Turn. Excellent. Good. And now just get a little more space on that, even slower. You don't have to go that fast. Push off and go. Almost. I like, so you see how you're kind of like tilting this way? All that is just getting that chest so that that hip will turn a little bit more. Okay, ready? Turn. Better. There we go. Excellent. We'll go one more. And load and explode. Good. Okay. Now the Erne. Okay. So I like to do this in a few different ways. So I'm gonna do actually have you stand there. Stages when it comes to learning Erne. Um, so most importantly, when we're talking Ernie's, it like everything with weight distribution, picking up the feet. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be the one that's working on the Erne motion. Okay. So we're going to essentially, I'm setting up in my cross court dink position. Okay. Now, as we start to rally, he's going to keep trying to push me. And I want you to try to get over here. So I'm going to just kind of start moving like this. Okay. So what I'm really trying to get that player is just picking up the feet and starting to recognize the motion itself. Okay. Okay. So then I'll kind of start saying, okay, as you start doing this, because this is weird, it's a cross court, it's not the most common. Yeah, I'm really just trying to get them to make the steps. Okay. Also, I'm really focused on the paddle spacing. Okay. So after a few, I'm just going to redirect the ball down that way. Okay. Here we go. So all I'm just trying to do is gauge, again, like I said, straight lines. This hinge is really important. Okay. Notice that as I'm doing this, my shoulders and my hips turn every time. Okay. I want to really get my body behind the ball. So I kind of start with that when people are nervous and are uncomfortable with it because it's the same thing. One of the biggest reasons players struggle with Ernie's, they're playing too close to the middle. So to be able to go cover that space is really difficult to kind of manage. So now, let's switch for one. I'll do it once and then I'll have you. So, and only because I'm having to do the forehand side because it's 10 times easier. I'm gonna have you right in front of me to me. Okay. So the pattern I'm going to create as the player. We'll do a couple and then we'll switch and let him do it. So the first ball I'm going to hit, it's a 3-ball pattern, is I'm going to hit towards his left foot. Okay. The second ball, I want it to hit towards the right side, close to the sideline. I want him to bounce it. That's my biggest priority on this shot. Okay. And when I talk to my players about kind of changing the depth, I say, imagine a ladder, like you have rungs of a ladder. Okay. So the first ball is going to be maybe at this rung up here. The second ball is going to be behind the line. Okay. So on here, we're keeping them both straight close to that. So as we increase the depth, I want to see the paddle really pushing lengthwise so that ideally, and mind you, if I'm the coach over there, I'm exaggerating a head drop. I'm like trying to show them the signal of what to do. And then that's when they move into that space. Okay. So I'm going over here. Yeah. And so I probably would have gone on the first one. So get that first here. 1, Okay, almost. I don't want him to give it to me. Here we go. I want him to make it hard. Okay, because I need the third ball. I don't want it to be like they hit 2 balls and they can go. I don't want that. I want them to feel like they have to accomplish it. Good. Okay, now we get longer and then leading from there. Okay. Because what happens with players a lot is they think to hit it deeper, they have to hit it harder. And that's the opposite of what we want. What makes people struggle with judgment is the speed of the ball. When the ball is slower, that's why they struggle recognizing the bounce it or taking it in the air. When the ball goes faster, they see it, take it in the air. It's a more natural concept. Okay, let's try it again. And here. Okay, let's have a try. Okay, so you jump out of there. Three balls. Again, it's we gotta force the position itself. Okay. Now you gotta push. Almost. There we go. Can anyone tell me what the problem is?
He's pushing too wide and stuff.
But he is, but why is he doing it?
I want to get
running
this.
He's running before he's done anything. He's trying to move forehand for sure. So that's why I say always lead with the paddle. Let the paddle be the guide in these situations. There's one more thing. Let's see if we can pick it up. Good. Better. There we go. You might even see it. There's a difference between how my ball is trajectory and Dimitri's trajectory.
Is there loftier?
Because they're loftier. Okay. Why?
Yes.
Paddle pace is an issue. So what was happening on like those first few rounds is that ball was going wide as well. So there's 2 factors of it. He was already moving before he finished hitting it. And that's what, remind people too about the ready position is people like the ball is still on the paddle. And so it's pulling it. So the biggest thing that I'm looking at from the difference is this is the prep of the paddle. So see that angle right here? So it's very difficult to hit a topspin shot in a down the line position from there. And so it's often going to pull the ball out wide from there. So dropping that tip of the paddle, you can get away with it on cross court way more. On a down the line, if you still want to generate that topspin, it's very difficult to do when you're cocking the wrist back like that. So simply kind of putting, and you'll see why people back up. It's right there too.
I scared hit the net.
Yeah, yeah. And so, because when I make my contact point, the angle itself is what's lifting the ball. But when people start to flatten, and I've seen coaches say that, like make your wrist or your paddle parallel with the line, and that kills me like so much. It's hurtful. Okay, we don't want that because that's late essentially. All right, start again. Here we go. Nice, better. Let it push it forward. Good, nice push. There, a little better push. Here we go. On that build, let it push. Yep. I don't want him on the second one. He's got to make it happen.
No, I know. So that's the whole thing. It's just
So it's about the pattern. He's not baiting me. He's making me make contact behind me. That's the difference. So what most people do is they go blindly into an Erne. They're just trying to say, oh, it's going to come up. He's forcing it to happen. He has to get me to bounce ball so that's my habit. What he wants is for me to take this one as a bounce as well. Now, to defend it, I would just take it in the air and I wouldn't have that problem. So that's why it's like kind of a trickier one. This happens, it's much more easy to do this pattern in 5-0 and below. Okay? Because the tendency the players have when you pull them out is come back over here. So they are more than likely going to let that ball bounce, which sets up for the early. Okay? If we're in a match, okay, if he pulls me over here, I'm staying here. So I'm not going to let him push me back on that next one. That's the difference. So
What should I do?
So from there, you have to work hard to make that happen. And so, yeah, so like it's just a little bit of, same thing. That's why we say playing this side is not about really playing it. It's just about pulling it off the line so that it kind of goes in. So you can adjust the depth on this side a little bit more. So as you start the pattern, it's just 3 balls. But when they start to get better, and then it's like, 3, 6, 9 balls, depending on, and then it's just kind of getting that flow because that is your reality. The biggest reason the ATP and the Ernies become effective is when players are giving up their position on a regular basis. It makes it a lot easier to get that contact behind the body and get that pop up.
Just clarification. So that's not. Actually, you have to read a sport.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And text.
Nope.
So you have to keep.
Sorry, I just
His body goes across.
Once you struck it, after you struck it, if you miss the ball and you try to cross it, that's a fault. Yeah. And they did that. They pushed that rule because you think so much. It's not fake. So that's what they addressed that. Correct. So the only time you can cross over if it's like reaching in, be cautious depending on your rep, but like overall, because basically it's the same rule applies if that ball is coming, wrong, hits like a super spinny ball and it comes back over, I can do that. Which I oddly enough see way more in Italy and Spain than anywhere else, because of the cup. So it's so much of like chipping and slicing. And so I mean, for years I never saw it happen around here. And then like in Italy, I saw it like 6 times. So but it's just like, Fidel, not sports. Yeah, it's still a lot of those players. It's that the most that is, yeah. So they tend, and it's kind of different. So you see a lot more over there of them letting the ball bounce on serve and just hitting more chip. Yeah. I mean, and it's really like that same. It depends on like the athletic skill, and that's why like I really, because depending on someone's athletic ability, on how much that jump can happen. So that's why I really start with this progression to get them focused on it, and then then I'll kind of start getting them to go over. I also. No, you're good. Yeah. So one thing that I actually do with some of my players is I'll feed them a couple balls and we'll go turn backhand and then I'll feed a ball that they have to go from here and they're crashing over on that, and so or if they can't get that then they're going from here and then in here and still kind of just working on the turning motion. So it's that kind of like push off, push, and then push. Yeah. So a lot of like stability and balance exercises for that, like one leg, single leg, like lunges and squats, those types of things, kind of, So like for me, because I've got a 3 amputation left knee, like this. So what I do is I actually have to turn my left knee out. So, so like this, like men can do a lot more, but in general, it's it's not as common. This is like my solution for my injury. So what this enables me to do is actually accelerate more off of that foot, where when I hold it here, it turns my knee a little bit and it just applies a little bit more pressure. So that's just kind of one of those things, like recognizing how to evolve around someone's injury and then just tweak the positioning. All right.
But back on the same idea.
Same. Yeah. And it's just simply because when you're teaching, forehand's going to be 10 times easier to start it. A lot of people never do it on their backhand side. Some people do. And I said it on this for a little bit is one of the biggest things we see in pickleball from a preparation standpoint. And it came from like how they used to years ago, say like, they used to hold the paddles like this, back in the day. And essentially what we see so much when people tilt is they struggle adjusting to the forehand from a spacing perspective. So when I have my players that are kind of on that, when I get them working on their forehand, it actually helps their backhand because then they're doing the same thing is they're not hitting the balls in here like this. If they're actually starting to hit more on the forehand side out in front of them, then it becomes way more natural for them to also have a better contact point on the backhand side. So that's the only reason I kind of I stress it a lot, because it's that old school mentality of like tilting a lot, and then the chicken wing. So it creates that big hindrance on that side of the body. All right, so do the same. Take through the shots. Let's go. Let's actually do